Greetings everyone, it's Reed and welcome to the SHTF bartering table. Today's special, PEX plumbing. Yes. Now, I will take gold and silver. Price per fitting, 1 ounce of gold. Sorry, I know, it's SHTF, but no one's making these around here anymore. You got a long way to go find more. Now I will take, bags of rice. I want 20-pound bags. And that'll cover for a fitting. Yeah, that'll work. But you need plumbing? I got you covered. So let's make a deal, shall we? All right, everyone. One of the key things I've discovered when playing with stuff, hooking things up and all that, is plumbing often requires a lot of weirdness and MacGyvering and jerry-rigging and praying and anything else when you're starting to mess with stuff and all that. Trust me, we're going to need to do a lot of plumbing systems in SHTF, especially when we're talking about setting up houses, new shelters, and anything like that. We're going to need to get some running water in there. Really helps for a lot of things. Cleanliness, sanitary conditions, obviously drinking, farming, everything else. Plumbing's very important. There are 2 plumbing systems I consider very effective for SHTF. Copper and PEX, okay? The reason why I don't include PVC in this is the glue, all right? I tell you, after several years, well, not even several, it's like 2 or 3 years, that glue is a dried goop and it will not make a good enough connection and the darn thing will just break apart and just, it's bad, all right? The primer seems to last forever, but the glue, oh man, that stuff dries out like crazy. Now I've got some glue hiding in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber vacuum sealed, hoping to see if that actually will get it to last longer. But I don't really count on it. So kind of put PVC out on the side. Getting everything ready with PVC before everything goes wrong? Sure, why not? You can do a lot with PVC. Great stuff. Great for all sorts of other things like that. But after SHTF, yeah, we got a problem. Now what about, galvanized steel? Yeah, we can also use that stuff. It works great for things, black steel and things like that. You can make those things work. However, realize they're going to rust. They're going to eventually come apart. But if you got a jerry rig, got a jerry rig. And you can also use galvanized steel stuff for drain, waste, vent. But like I said, it's going to rust. It's going to come apart over time. And the other thing you need to make certain when you're dealing with that, you're going to need a big plumber's wrench. If you're dealing with drain, waste, vents, 2 inches to, 3 inches on a lot of stuff. I mean, that's big pipe. And the other thing, huge amounts of Teflon tape, okay? Or plumber's caulk or whatever else you're dealing with on that. Yeah. On the other side, so you can do that. You can actually, there exists PEX that's big enough for drain, waste, vent. I do not have any tooling for that. But mainly right now, we're going to focus on potable water, okay? So like if you can get potable water and everything else, but the drain, waste, vent, and all that stuff is really an outhouse, good enough, right? We can eventually work on making, ceramic piping systems and old style sewer systems to get from there. But let's focus on today. So today we're going to focus on the PEX. Now what is PEX? It is a polyethylene plastic pipe. Yeah. Now polyethylene is a very low energy plastic. Means it doesn't react with hardly anything, which is very good. So like that. Now the manufacturing process, there's different types of PEXs we have. We have PEX A, PEX B, and PEX C. That doesn't mean grades, like A's the best, B's the second best, and C's the next, last grade. No, it's processes, okay? PEX A is made with something called the Engel method, and it involves a peroxide in the chemical manufacture to get the polyethylene to cross-link and make all these other bonds in the tubing. PEX B uses pretty much they form the tube, put it into a saline water solution and heat it up. And then it forms the cross-links, okay? PEX C uses an electron beam for it. Now, in terms, I only use PEX A or PEX B. I have actually never encountered PEX C. It's like that. Now, PEX A is quite flexible. This isn't PEX A, this is PEX B, all right? PEX A is a lot more flexible than this, okay? PEX B, it's more rigid. Now, what's some of the goodness about PEX B? PEX B has a very high chlorination resistance, and it's got some UV resistance. And a lot of them actually say it can be exposed to UV for 6 months and still be fine. PEX A has less UV resistance, and it does not like UV at all. All right. One of the other things is PEX B has a higher burst pressure than PEX A, which can be useful and such. Now, the other thing that you got to watch out on PEX A is apparently, in a lot of tests, they say there's a much higher chemical leaching from the process. There's a lot of peroxides or something like that can keep coming out from the polyethylene, which is kind of weird in and of itself, but apparently that is an issue with it. They say it's 200% higher than this. Now, I do have a question on that. I'm still looking for some hard numbers, because if this is 0 and the other one is 0.2 parts per billion or something like that, yeah, it's 200% higher, but it's still minuscule. So I got a question on that. However, they're all rated for potable water systems, so they all deem them safe enough for you to drink. But this is a prepping thing, so don your tinfoil hats, everyone. Now, let's talk about how this PEX system actually functions and all that. So, you have fittings, okay? We have compression rings, all right? And of course, the tubing. The ring goes on the tubing, this goes in here, and then we crimp this in place. It squeezes the PEX around this, and then this doesn't come off. Let's do that real quick with one of these. Because how does this stuff work? All right, so we got the pipe, we got a fitting, we got a crimp ring. Now, this is the crimp method that you can buy at any hardware store and all that. They're very common. I think they're a great way to get into, and I consider them also very reliable. There's another one called the clamp method. I don't like those. I've seen a lot of issues with them because it seems like people just don't get it right, don't look at it very well, and they get things wrong. Now, if you haven't seen the prior video, links up here, it will show you how to cut PEX perfectly straight. And it's just a standard pipe cutter that does it. So cut your PEX perfectly straight. Put it on here, okay, line it up. The crimp ring for this size, which is 1/2 inch, goes about right there, okay? So we get our crimper, and this is so much harder on camera for some reason. Get it here, squeeze, okay, so it's all the way squeezed. Now, we let out, okay. Now, very important, a lot of people shortchange this. This is the gauge that tells you if you've got a good crimp. Very important to find out, okay? Now, 3/4. So this one, so this is the no, meaning this should not go in. It's gonna tell me if I've compressed this too much. And this is not going in. This is what I wanna see. This one, it should go in, and it fits. So we have enough compression on here, all right? Once that's done, this isn't coming off. And it's watertight. I really like these because they go together real easy, and you end up with a watertight connection that's very reliable, usually. Now, here's the various crimpers. This crimper does 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch PEX without much trouble. Now, this crimper here can do 1 inch, which is what it's right now, but it's also got adapters that go down to 3/8. I'll use it on 3/8, but I don't use this on 1 inch anymore. See the handle? It's kind of short. When I was trying to get in on one of the areas I was working on, I was at an odd angle, and I crimped and I put muscles into it. I was pushing real hard, and it tearing a bit of a tendon in my elbow on my left arm. It's been a constant problem ever since, right? And unfortunately, the doctors say it's not bad enough for surgery, but if it gets worse, they might consider it. One of those quandaries. I'm working on seeing about getting it better on my own, stuff like that. But this is another video. Let me show you how I got around this problem, though. Okay. I bought a bigger crimper. Okay, so you can see the handles are a lot longer, much better leverage. This one compresses 1 inch PEX without any problem and does not kill me doing it. If you go buy, you're gonna deal with 1 inch PEX, get something that's got a big set of handles on it, and this one can do up to 1 1/4 inch PEX. And one of the other things I love about PEX, so we decide, hey, this fitting, stuff like that, we need to take this stuff apart and reuse a bunch of things. Well, you're only gonna lose a little bit of pipe, actually, okay? And then we can reuse it all, and you're gonna lose the ring. So we lose the ring and a little bit of pipe around here, but you can get the whole fitting off and reuse it. Let's do that. Let me show you. So I'm gonna get a pipe cutter because I actually forgot to do the quick snippers, but at least this way there'll be a good straight edge on it when I want to reuse that little section of pipe. Believe it or not, a lot of little sections are useful for building oddball things, or not really oddball. Like I've got some little manifolds here that I'm gonna stick in the bathroom. So, you know, toilet, shower, bathtub sort of thing. Yeah, you can see what I'm aiming at there. But let's get this cut. Well, I got this cut off here, and we got wind like crazy, so I hope the audio is gonna make it through this. Anyways, now these little guys here are tools to actually snip these rings. They're kind of cool. Put it in. Whoops. Looks like I cut a little short. That's all right. Okay, there we go. Ugh. Now it comes off. Now in here, I don't know if you can see this very well, there's actually deep impressions and indents of where the PEX was grabbed onto and bited onto this. Okay. Now, getting the crimps done right is important. There's guides and stuff like that that tell you exactly where they're supposed to be for the fitting and stuff like that, so things work, okay? Now, let me show you. This one is a good one I've used before. It's been in service. I think I took it out of service when it had been in service about 10 years or so. Here's another one that had been in service about 10 years. This is bad because you can see here water was getting in. This joint would eventually fail. I'll throw up some photos up close so you can see what the heck I'm talking about here and point it out. But you can see how the corrosion was getting further and further in, and as like with our water that's extremely hard, it eventually get more and more in there, and then the joint's gonna fail. This one is just fine, no problems. And you can see the green from the copper of it being exposed to stuff. All right. Now PEX adapters and fittings come to all sorts of stuff. We've got stuff that'll take PEX and turn it into where we can solder joint onto copper, which is great to have. I got lots of those. We have ball valves. We have pipe thread adapters, stuff to go to PVC. I mean, anything you can think of, they've got a thing for PEX for it. And I really like this stuff. Works great. It's very reliable. And the best part, you don't have to worry about that darn glue, you know, getting all dried out and then you can't put it together. So I think PEX is a vital thing to have, and I keep quite a bit of it. Now, I'm going to be hooking up and finally getting a bunch of stuff in the walls like I was talking about, because I've done a lot of prototyping of plumbing and things like that around my house. And so you're going to see a lot of the stuff, and I'll show you how I've designed my system, how it's going to go, how it's all going to work, and I'll be putting stuff in there. One of the other things that's pretty neat about PEX, because PEX A and B. B, not as much as A, but A can actually handle freezing quite well, and so can B. However, what can't is these guys, all right? These will crack. And they also make plastic versions of these fittings and stuff, but these, both sets would crack, okay? Now the other thing about PEX is types of, PEX is actually rated for underground use, okay? You just have to change out the connectors and the fittings on it. Now if you're actually doing a run that could be contiguous, all right, you know, up into a building, all the way under, and then back up, and no fittings, no problem, right? If you got a couple fittings like that, you're gonna need to change out to the plastic ones, just like that, because copper, when it's directly exposed like this, could be a problem. The other thing I think you could do in SHTF is set it up when you're using the traditional ones, like this and all that. Use the heat shrink with the glue in it, seal out the water, should be good to go underground, because that's what we use for electrical. Now that's not code and stuff like that, but in SHTF I darn well would do it. So I also keep a bunch of heat shrink around. Anyways, you'll get to see lots of plumbing stuff set up. We're gonna go over how to solder copper, put all that together, and boy do I know how to solder and braze. I know that really well. So I also do HVAC. That's another story for another time. I do hope this is giving you a lot of good ideas, some thoughts and all that, and I keep a lot of PEX fittings, PEX, all sorts of stuff like that. Gotten a lot of stuff from scrapping and things. And when I see things on a real good sale, I'll pick them up and stash away, because I am certain we're going to need to do lots of jerry-rigged plumbing, repairing plumbing, all sorts of stuff in SHTF. Whoa, stop the bits, halt that download. We had a small issue in this video. I completely forgot something really important as I'm looking at it, editing it, and going, whoops, gotta fix that. So quick interruption. Let's talk about something else that's really important here. Okay, little PEX oddball thing I put together. It's a manifold. You get it? Multiple things. Feed, output, yeah. All right, say you're trying to get this thing lined up. You got it crimped, but something's not right. You gotta have something bent out or something like that. Other things you've soldered, glued, or whatever, you're dead in the water. PEX, whoa, hey, you can reposition it after crimp. And guess what? It doesn't leak. It's really cool. I like that feature. It has saved my butt a lot. There's one awesome thing I like about PEX. You can twist things, rotate things, and all that with the crimp method, and they don't leak. They'll happily be in the new position and work. Really cool thing. All right, here's the other thing I forgot. 1-inch PEX, okay? All right, this stuff, this is PEX B, okay? 1-inch PEX this size is hard to work with. It's a pain, you know? Usually I have to leave it out in the sun, get it a little warmed up and real pliable so I can bend it out. And it just wants to stay kind of curved a little bit from the roll it's on. So when you get up to 1-inch PEX, and especially larger, 1¼ inch, 1½, I mean any of those bigger ones, use PEX A. It's more flexible, a lot easier to work with, and you're not going to be cursing the darn thing. So I do recommend PEX A for 1 inch and higher. You can still get PEX B in 1 inch and 1¼ inch, but be prepared to fight. There's a bit of a fight on hands getting that stuff to move in the right position sometimes. All right. The other important thing to realize when dealing with PEX is the inside diameter is smaller than the equivalent pipe. So here's pipe. So here's the PEX end. Look through there, and if you look in here, you can see the amount of a shoulder it's got in here. That's the reduction it's got to do to get it in the PEX. When you're looking for equivalent sizes, you know, so say you've got 3/4 inch PEX and you want to, you know, match that with a pipe, well, it's 1/2 inch pipe. So 1 inch PEX is equal to 3/4 inch pipe. 1¼ inch PEX equal to 1 inch pipe. There you go. That's how they kind of match up. So when you look at that, oh, 1 inch PEX. Yeah, that's a 1 inch pipe. No, a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller. For a lot of things, it doesn't matter as much, but when you are concerned about that, you need to upsize the PEX, okay, when you're going from pipe to PEX. And so like here's some copper pipe, you know. Here's the insert into 3/4 inch PEX, 3/4 inch copper, you know, and it's actually starting to slide in there. And so there you go. The pipe is a bit bigger than the PEX. Well, there you go. There's the small addendum to this video. Let's get back to the regularly scheduled programming. So I make certain to keep a lot of this around. And I'm certain lots of professional plumbers can comment, and I'm no giant expert on plumbing. What I know about plumbing is home plumbing. I can deal with plumbing around a house and all that and things and pretty much stuff like that. But professional plumbers will probably have tons of comments to talk about things. But anyways, one of the reasons why I like PEX, copper, stuff like that, is I don't have to worry about glue. Solder and crimp rings is like that. They're durable forever stuff. And you can reuse things without much trouble. Stock up on that. And based on how things are, I bet once we figure out how to make copper, we can make our own rings pretty easily. There's not anything that special about them. Well, anyways, I've rambled on long enough here. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. And this is Reed, out for now. Apparently, I've offended some deity in charge of PEX today. Anyways, let me get this off.